Hey, what's going on, everybody? Well, I wanted to talk to y'all about something real quick while I'm going for a little walk. And, you know, my bad. You know, what I'm learning, and when we see, pardon me, y'all, when we see certain things that are going on in the world that has to do with exposure, in terms of people exposing other people, and I know sometimes we can look at the word exposure as like this terrible thing, like, oh, you outing a person. Oh, y'all, I'm not gonna walk that way because they got that big old lawnmower and it's gonna be so loud. So let's go this way. But you know, sometimes we hear the word exposure and we feel some type of way, like, oh, why you exposing this person? Why you saying this? Why you saying that? And then right now you have social media that comes in and tries to take part, especially when we see these cases go public, if you will. And you know, everybody wants to weigh in if it's true, if it's not true. You know, if a woman is coming out against a man that has done something, you got half the people that say she a liar, she wants clout, she wants money. Y'all, I apologize, these cars just driving by. She wants clout, she wants money, she's after a man who does this and this and that. And so, you know, then you have the other side of it where the woman feels victimized, like, wait, this actually happened. And this is why I didn't want to come out, because I feel like people weren't going to believe me anyway, right? And so I know everybody probably saw, for the most part, the Diddy and the Cassie situation, how she's suing him for like $30 million for all the things that took place in their relationship, the abuse, the sexual allegations, and what have you. So I'm not coming on necessarily about that in particular, but I have to look at a lot of things on social media because it helps me understand the pulse of what is going on, what the world is facing. When I'm counseling people, I have to be able to understand what are they exposed to. Because if I'm not aware and they're asking me for assistance and I'm saying, oh, I don't know. Oh, what's going on with that? What do you mean? What lyrics in a song? I have to know these things, right? So I'm not on here to necessarily talk about them in general. I'm on here to just encourage you that as tough as it may be, you got to begin to expose things in your life. You cannot allow the trick of the enemy that has you in willing sin and consistent sin, because we all gonna fall short. We're all gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna do stuff that's a disappointment. We all will sin. That is a fact. It's not a hypothetical. It's not a, well, maybe I won't. All of us will sin and will continue to sin. But the thing is, we want to be able to expose the things about ourselves that we are struggling with. And when I say expose, this is for this particular video because, of course, there's going to be other things that I can say about this. But I know sometimes when people watch videos, they only take a certain part of it. So what I'm going to deal with right now is what I'm talking about right now in this video. Of course, there's so much more to what I can say. But what I'm going to deal with is self-exposure on this particular level. From a spiritual perspective, y'all, we got to expose ourselves to God in a posture to where we want help. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. What do I mean? If you dealing with some things that's in your mind, we got to deal with that. We got to tell God. We got to be honest with him. We got to say, look, I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of pretending. Because see, this is what the devil will try to do. The devil will make you hide it from man. And you'll be dealing with something, and that demon will begin to manifest itself that keeps you in the place that you know you should come out of. Things that we deal with mentally, right? Things that we deal with emotionally, allowing past emotional scars to hinder us out of what belongs to us, out of our destiny, out of so many different things. Physically, some of us struggle so much with lust, right? Watching porn, masturbation, sleeping around, not keeping our bodies. I heard something that was just such, and this is a side note, I'm gonna get back to what I'm saying. I tried to, with the help of God, be so mindful of what I share on my platform. You know why? Because I understand that somebody's watching. If one person is watching, that's enough for me. That's a soul, that's a human being. And I know the human side, where everybody have their opinion. You can either take it, you can leave it, I get that. But I am so careful of my words. And I heard someone say something of this magnitude. They said, they were talking about covenants in the Bible. And they said, you don't have to be married. As long as you have a covenant with the person and you two have an understanding of a covenant, then you guys can sleep together. And I thought that was such, I don't want to say I disagreed with it in terms of like, why would you say that? But I said, why would they say something like that with that platform? Because a part of me said, first of all, you don't even understand human nature. A covenant, based on what a covenant is in the Bible. So they were saying, hey, as long as you have a covenant with that person and you two are willing to be committed to each other, you can sleep together. And that's not a sin. You don't have to wait till marriage. And I thought that's such a disservice. You know why? Because in my mind, I said, he doesn't understand how the human mind and the human emotions work. Because if it was that simple, everybody would be doing it and we wouldn't be tied into sleeping with the person and our emotions getting so into it. If that was the case, friends with benefits, as long as you put the word covenant on it, would work. And so I said, man, you telling people they can sleep with a person. If those two people have an understanding of a covenant, that would be suggestive that your entire audience has this wonderful relationship with God, where a man and a woman can understand covenant, come into agreement with covenant without being married, and sleep together. How is a covenant supposed to control your emotions? Now, the Holy Ghost is supposed to. But how is saying, yeah, we in covenant, it's supposed to stop that person from having emotions when you want to now go have a covenant with another person? Because the truth of the matter is, we have to understand how humans work. Humans are not necessarily designed to want to do everything right. You have to be disciplined and you have to be consistent. So now you're saying that every single person that is sleeping with another person that came into an agreement and said, we're going to be under covenant, is mature, healthy, whole. Well, if that is the case, then why shouldn't we just be married? Why do we have to go under a covenant? Why shouldn't we just do this the right way and be married? Or are we trying to make an excuse just to have sex? But they're using their platforms to say something like that. And now you're talking to a bunch of people that we know the reality of it is we're just not mature. I struggle with maturity in a lot of areas of my life. That's just the reality of it. I don't have to come on social media to pretend like, because I'm the messenger, that I have it all together. Jesus was the messenger, but guess what? He still got beat. He still bled like we bled, right? He still had wounds like we had wounds. And he was the messenger. He walked in signs, miracle signs and wonders, but he still bled. He still hurt. He still got on that cross and said, now wait, Lord. Okay, but not my will, your will, right? So just because you're the messenger, it don't mean you got all the answers. It doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you have it all together. Now, it means that there's a different level of expectation that we should hold because of the message that we're delivering, of our level of influence or what have you. But when he said that, I said, that just hurt my heart, because so many people will now listen to that and now we'll go into something saying, as long as I have a covenant, I can sleep with who I want. Assuming that other person understands that in and out. And again, if you and that other person understands that, why not just get married? If it's not about the sex, if it's not, we're in covenant, we're in relationship, get married. So I'm also saying that to say, we have to expose these things that the devil tries to use to trick ourselves to remain in hiding. Does that make sense? Give me 1 second. I have to look at this on my other phone. So what do I mean? I was looking at something this morning and y'all look at this. It'd be like snails and stuff. Can y'all see that? They just be hanging out right on the trees. I was looking at 1 Thessalonians and Ephesians 5 and 11. I made sure I took the note because I didn't want to misquote it. And this was in the English this is the English Standard Version. First Thessalonians says, abstain from every form of evil. Ephesians 5:11 says, take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. You know why that thing blessed me? Because right there, it lets you know that anything that's in darkness, it bears no fruit. It says it's unfruitful. You cannot benefit from it. What do I mean? If you're having a mental battle, there's no fruit from staying in bondage to that mental battle, because that is the work of the enemy. Because it's not God that wants you in a mental battle. It's not God that wants you to be struggling with your emotion. It's not. The Bible says, my thoughts concerning you are good and not of evil. So no, God doesn't want you depressed. No, God doesn't want you with anxiety. No, God doesn't want you feeling less than. No, God's desire is not for us to have low self-esteem, right? All these things that we deal with. No, God doesn't want you to struggle with putting down porn. God doesn't want you to struggle with an addiction, smoking weed, doing cocaine, popping Percocets. That is not the will of the Lord. So if it's not the will of the Lord, the other option is what? Evil, right? That's the only option. The only option is evil. But what did the word say? Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Abstain from every form of evil. Every form of evil. And you have to ask yourself, because we just talked about it. We only have darkness and light. We know that God's thoughts concerning us are good and not evil. So anything that we're thinking contrary to good thoughts is from the adversary. So whatever it is that you're struggling with, whether it's doubt, it's not from God. Fear, not from God. Jealousy, not from God. Because those things are not positive, right? So you have to now begin to expose yourself. That's one of the ways we can begin to do the work. I need to stop making excuses, and I need to tell myself, this is what I'm struggling with. Yes, what you struggle with came from somewhere. I would agree 100%. 1 second, y'all, because y'all know I got to keep my lips. That comes from my mom growing up. She used to say, do not be walking around with your face dry and your lips crusty and your lips dry. Put something on your face and get something on your lips. She rehearsed that. Thanks, Mom. Because it served me a good purpose. Because she's right. So what am I talking about in terms of exposure? We have to be willing to expose the unfruitful works to God. Stop hiding behind a jump and a shout. Stop hiding behind your career. Stop hiding behind how much money you have. Stop hiding behind because you live better than the other person. Stop hiding behind because you drive a nice car than a different person. Stop hiding behind your degrees and your accolades. But really begin to do the work by exposing your unfruitful works of evil to God. Stop rehearsing, well, this is what I deal with. Well, this is what I struggle with. And I don't know. And this and that. No, start dealing with that stuff. Start talking about that stuff. Start being honest. I got a problem with addiction. I got a problem with watching pornography. Because those certain things lead to deeper portals. We know that if you have a problem with pornography, it's lust. Lust cannot be quenched. So be honest that you have a problem with masturbation, because all of those things lead into other things. And I know it's going to be a lot of folks that watch that say, well, the bedroom is undefiled, but half of us not even married. And some of us that are married, we're getting into situations, putting ourselves in scenarios with another individual that has not done the work, that has unfruitful works. So why you thinking, well, if it's my husband and it's okay for us to watch porn, but you know he's cheated. You know he struggles with commitment. You know that he had you crying all night, or she. So why bring that into your relationship? You can't, or if you know he doesn't satisfy you, but you watching porn because you want to make him happy, but you left unsatisfied, which guess what? That leads to other things in a marriage. You're unsatisfied sexually. You're not happy. Well, guess what? You got a bigger problem. You should be watching porn. Y'all should be y'all should be able to have a healthy conversation to figure out this is bigger than watching something. We should be able to enjoy one another's company. And here's another thing. And I don't know why I'm going on this topic, but I'm talking about it. Another thing, we make sex such a big deal, but people forget, people get older. They have health issues, right? There's so many different things that can happen. People lose their jobs, have children. And if you I've heard a couple of preachers say stuff over the pulpit, post about stuff like, I'm telling you, you want to keep your marriage happy, have as much sex as possible. So my mind now says, okay, so if I go into a coma, we can't have sex. If I get sick, we can't have sex. If I have a baby, we can't have sex. If I'm having a rough time and I'm trying to get myself together, we can't have sex. But the answer to a happy marriage is having as much sex as possible. Hold on. What about if you're dating somebody that's older than you? They're going to get older while you may be a little bit younger. And maybe their libido is not where yours needs to be. But you've based your relationship on have as much sex as possible. See, people don't think about the fact that we get older. You can't have as much sex as possible in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, depending on what's going on. You can't have as much sex as possible in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, depending on what's going on. We should be looking for connections. We should be I'm not saying that having sex in a marriage is not a good thing, but when people say stuff like that's the key to making your marriage work, I'm trying to tell you, wait a minute. You know how many women go through different things and don't have a desire for sex? You know how many men go through different things and use sex as a means to cover up what it is that they're dealing with in a marriage? You know how many women have sex with their spouses and they're not actually satisfied because they trying to make sure their ego ain't bruised? I know y'all don't want to be honest about it. Listen, I ain't trying to break up nobody's happy home, but all of this narrative that y'all see, oh, well, they must not be sleeping with the right person. Okay. Y'all people will be surprised that if you asked your spouse, or if your spouse was sitting in a room and they had to honestly tell, does your partner satisfy me? Y'all will be crushed. Y'all will be crushed. I know you want to believe the fairy tale. I know you want to believe the fairy tale like, yeah, because every time me and her sleep together, I'm putting it down every time. I know you want to believe that. I know. But that goes to show you that sometimes most men who are actually grown boys don't understand the body of a woman. The fact that you think you can convince yourself that you satisfy me every time I lay down lets me know your maturity level right there. But that's another topic, because that's hard for some of y'all to hear. I get it. But what am I saying? You want to be able to expose certain things so that you can be a healthier you, a happier you, so we can now have happy homes, so we can raise happy and healthy children, so that we can have happy and healthy relationships. It doesn't mean you're not going to have disagreements. It doesn't mean you're not going to have issues. Yes, we're going to have those things. But the problem is a lot of us are hiding. We are hiding behind a mask. We are hiding behind our accolades. We are hiding behind our titles. We are hiding behind the things that we've completed. We are hiding behind, oh, well, if we compare ourselves to the next person, as long as I'm doing better than you, then I must don't have a problem. We all have a problem. That's why, respectfully, I'm not the biggest fan of preachers and teachers that preach and teach at people. Don't preach or teach at me. Because guess what? We all have issues. Don't make me think that you figured it all out. And even then, whatever revelation you have, it's not because of you. It's because of God. So don't stand up there like you got it all together. That doesn't make any sense. And I do understand that we have to talk with a level of wisdom. But it's time out for us to stop pretending, stop lying, but expose your unfruitful works. Expose your unfruitful works. That could look like anything. That's why I'm saying you do your assessment. You could struggle with communication. You could struggle with learning to listen, learning to be quiet. You could struggle with addiction. You could struggle with being consistent. You could struggle with discipline, whether it could be in any area. So it does not always have to be like this obvious thing like, oh, he's an abuser, so no, then he needs to be exposed. No, you have some stuff within you that needs to be exposed. That's one of the steps to get yourself to a better place. Let me stop pretending like I don't struggle with pride, that I don't struggle with jealousy, that I don't struggle with comparison, that I don't look at other people and secretly think I could do better. Why I gotta be them? Oh no, that I don't struggle with backbiting, lying, scamming, right? Stealing, whatever it may be, you know your struggle. See, you could pretend to everybody else, but you know it. And even here's what we'll do. We will justify our unfruitful works. We will justify our unfruitful works of evil. Well, you know, God's still working on me. You know, I'm trying to do better. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's what the enemy wants to tell you. Because the Bible says I can do all things through Christ. The Bible doesn't say some stuff you ain't going to be able to do. The Bible doesn't say, well, I'll only help you here, but I'm not going to help you there. He'll give us grace to be able to go through something, and he'll give us mercy when we're doing too much. But he never says that he's not capable. But you have to be willing. Be willing. Before you start looking at other people, before the day is out, the week is out, the year is out, whenever you watch this video, start being honest with yourself and say, you know what? I need to expose some things about myself. God, here I am. This is my struggle. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I have. This is what I've been lying about. This is what I'm ashamed of to admit to somebody. We all got something that we would not get on. We would not pick up our phones, get on Facebook Live or whatever other social media platform, press play and tell the world. You wouldn't do it. But you can tell God though. Ain't nobody trying to, God is not here to shame you or embarrass you, but the devil will. The devil will embarrass you. The devil will shame you with your evil works, your evil fruit. I'm sorry. The devil will make you have evil fruit, unhealthy fruit. He'll expose you. He'll shame you. He'll embarrass you. He'll stop you from getting what you deserve. He'll stop you from having healthy relationships. God doesn't do those things. God says, listen, I'm here. Come to me. Talk to me. Be open to receive what I tell you that needs to be done. To get that out of you, to change that, to begin to tackle what that is. But the devil, he'll make you read the Bible and justify your wrong. That's why you have preachers that preach on homosexuality, but they won't preach on adultery. You know why? Because see, that's what the devil will make you do. See, the devil will make you go to a therapist and think you know better than the therapist. The devil will make you have somebody that's in your life that can help and support you, but your ears are here that everything they saying is wrong. Or they out to get you, or they don't know no better. Or the devil will start making you look at their life. Well, how can they tell me? Because they got da-da-da-da going on. See, God won't do that. God won't do that. God will tell you exactly what is needed, how it's needed, when it's needed, who you need to be going to, etc., 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 to get you free. But you got to want to be free. Don't find yourself in a place to where you are being tricked by the enemy, where you are having unfruitful works of darkness. You can't have unfruitful works with God, with the relationship with him, but you can have that with the devil. Don't find yourself in a place where the devil is trying to keep you in sin just to expose you. Keep you in sin to derail you. Keep you in sin to stop you. Keep you in sin to keep you bound. I hope this helps somebody. I'm getting up off of here. I love y'all. Until we chat again. Talk to y'all soon.